Good morning. We have a lot to get done, and it's surprisingly helpful pretending there's someone that I'm talking to that cares, and it just kind of helps me organize my thoughts a little bit, keep me accountable, keep me moving forward. Have our coffee and our first ever prototype of the mug cozies. So let me show you what we have. Okay, last night I finished my second fall theme cozy. This morning I finished these. I think they're fun. They kind of look like a daisy type. I pulled these out because I think I'm going to either make just solid colored patterns in this yarn to go with them, or I'm going to sit and I'm going to contemplate a color combination. I also finished this one, so I decided the solid green is going to go with this just green and red one. And then for this one, because I made these coasters, I paired it with this one. I think this works with it because it has this color, but I am tempted to grab one with a little more orange. I think that's more appealing to my eye. All right, so what am I doing next? Okay, next I'm going to work on mug cozies for those. Here's the yarn. I think, so I was contemplating this, but I just don't love it. I actually kind of like this gray. Let's see though in this lighting. Yeah, something about that makes these colors pop more to me, whereas the brown just kind of blended. I'm still on the fence about just doing solid though, because this is a different yarn weight than this. I do think it turned out okay. Let me grab my example in this, because this is definitely a thinner weight than this. So, I mean, it works. Maybe I'll do one with the gray and see. I'm gonna crochet outside, but here's a pretty zinnia flower. Okay. I'm gonna hope the cat doesn't find me. I have the camera situated a little different. It's kind of in the way of what I'm doing, so. Oh boy. Okay. I think I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, so the cat found me, came inside, and I frogged all of my work and started over because it was way too short, and this one's a little bit too long. I counted the same amount, I'm not sure, but I'm okay with it being a little longer than too short. So, crochet together for a little bit here. I'm on my stepper. It makes really annoying squeaky noises, but I'll try and remember to mute this after. Little puppy. Such a good girl. Such a good girl. Oh, I almost stole my yarn. Okay. I don't know how people get anything done if they have nowhere to escape cats. This would just be so stimulating for them, watching that yarn. But to each their own, right? My dog is also a crafter. Actually, both are. They like to do bone carving, and I do contemplate saving their works of art when they get like too small for them to safely chew on. It's just kind of like a funny haha, or maybe I could paint or add something onto it to like really bring their vision to life. The stepper is really nice for, so like the lighting in the house isn't super great, so it's really nice for letting me move, get my steps in, and I can stay in a spot with good lighting. Like I have a lamp that I will set myself up under. Right now, sunlight's pretty good outside, so it's all right. But otherwise, I'm able to kind of walk in a circle in the house. I'll do that. But this has been really nice. I also like it too, if there's a show on or something, sometimes I start to get a little dizzy from walking around the house. Like this is just a little nicer. In that regard. I guess you can mess with the tension on these. It was less than $40 for it. I think it was a worthwhile investment. I know the walking pads have had a very good popularity spike, but I also know from using treadmills that I tend to kind of walk off the edge of a treadmill, and I don't walk in a very straight line, so that would cause me to have to stop and start fairly often, could definitely get hurt. Also, the treadmill anyway, that I've tried it on, is really noisy. So I don't love that. This is a lot quieter. It squeaks a little bit, but like you can still enjoy shows and stuff without them blaring at their highest volume, just to hear over the treadmill. Oh my goodness, I am nothing but struggling with this. I'll meet you guys when I like finish it. Do you see I put 2 in this one? Like, oh boy. All right, I'll be back. Taking a break to admire the fish because I'd have a little honest talk with myself. I need a break from making the cozies, especially with that color combination. For whatever reason, I am struggling with it. And I think what I'm going to work on next is putting my cozy and coaster sets together with a little bit of yarn, and I'm going to make tags for them, and they're going to be how I keep track of my inventory. So when things sells, I'm going to take the yarn off and it'll have that tag on it And I'm just gonna put on like the cozy coaster set and then the colors specifically that were in that set of yarns, so I know maybe what was popular, so I know to make more of those. And then I'm gonna just keep like a little basket. I have a tiny crochet basket that I think I'll keep by me that I can just toss those tags in, keep track of for later. I'm not gonna put the price on those tags. I'm just gonna have a bigger price. And I'm still working on figuring out what I will price them at. I talked about doing $10, and honestly for me, if I were a consumer and I saw that set for $10, I would think that was insanely cheap, and that would make me not want to buy it because it's too affordable. It is so weird how our brains work. 15 feels pretty comfy. 20 makes me go, ooh, do I really want that? Which I honestly am okay with that because I don't want my products contributing to over-consumerism or the landfill any more than they could than them just being and these materials existing in the world already does. So I would like my prices to make people pause and think, am I really going to appreciate this, or am I just buying it on a whim and it's going to just be tossed and forgotten? And the moment in my life that made me think that's definitely a worthwhile strategy as a creator and a crafter who's putting passion, time, energy into what you're making. I went to the Renaissance Fair and they had these gorgeous wood babies. They're made out of wood and they would use rabbit fur, chicken fur, or faux fur and leather. And they also had wire running through it, so it's a little bit of a puppet. And they sit on your shoulders. They call them wood babies. I got a dragon. It was $75 for that. And that was a lot of money for me as a teenager. I mean, just going to the fair can be a lot of money, and I wasn't able to purchase it that year. But I remembered that, and I really did want it and valued getting something like a dragon from them. So I actually saved up. I waited a whole year and I came back and then I bought it. And I still have that dragon. I still prize it. I still bring it with me. And I also have a couple other smaller dragon type things. They have like bosom buddies and finger pals. But like that's what I want for the creations that I make. I want them to be treasured or valued, or at least, stay with people for several years and have good feelings with them. Okay. By the way, this is a classic neon tetra. Those are black neon tetras, and this is, I think, like an elephant ear guppy or fancy guppy or something. There's also a pleco in here and a nearite snail, but I don't know where they are. There's a guy over there. And this Java fern moss has taken over. I thought it was going to die off, but clearly it's doing well. Yeah, I really like having an aquarium and that it's turning kind of feral. This Anubis fern here, it actually bloomed, and that was really cool to see. I had to show you what I was talking about at the Renaissance Fair. This is one of the wood babies. They did make them with feathers for wings, but those were a lot more. And financially, I decided to go with the felt wings. He really likes to look a certain direction. He's gotten a little bit of a kink, but he's got like these beautiful purple eyes. This is wood, and then there's this wire, and then when you like push on this, it'll lift his head. See? And he's like, ah! And so you'll fit them on your shoulder. Their most recent designs, before they stopped making them, they had like a nice magnetic plate here, and then the other plate would sit on your shoulder to your clothing, and it worked so slick. He doesn't have that, but like, so cool, right? I think he was worth saving up for, and he's really fun to bring to the fair. People will stop and be like, oh, look at that thing moving and watching us. So going back to pricing, I have some nice heavy cardstock, so this is what I'm going to use. I have a whole bunch of yarn scraps. I should be able to use a lot of these to fold these together. I am just conceding the point. I have 3 of these left. I have 3 random colors, paired them. We're just gonna call that good, and we're gonna be happy and move on with our life and with all the other crafts that we plan to make and all the setup we need to do before we even get to the vendor fair. Here's my other genius plan for pricing. So it's like, how much yarn did I use? Because then I can figure out how much my material costs are. I'm just gonna weigh it because the skeins come in like however many grams they are, which I believe is how much they weigh. I guess I could test that. So anyway, turn this on. So it's saying 19 grams. And then let's check. I don't know. Yes, I do have a completely unused skein. So this is saying it's 170 grams. Let's check. Okay, yeah, pretty much spot on. So great, now we can figure out how much our material cost is. Because these were on sale for like $2.99 plus tax. Exciting. All right, I have everything set up. So on one side I have the colors used. The other just says it's a mug, cozy, and coaster set. Thinking maybe I should have put colors. I'm just gonna be okay with that. I can always add that. And then we're going to attach the coaster to the cozy to the tag. Okay, let's get her done. So I'm just gonna go through one end here, here. Yeah, I think that'll be nice. And I want to tie it so that I can easily, maybe that helps if I be in the view. So I can easily just pull this and unslide everything, put these in my basket. See you when I'm all done. Here they are. Here's the pile. All right, and then this is the vision even more explained. So I'm gonna have mugs. I'm gonna have at least one that is dressed. Oh, yeah. Put this on. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna set it down. Okay, it's dressed, right? And I wanted the strings, hopefully on most of these, to be loose enough that you can still put it on and get the full picture, right? So I'll have at least one dressed, maybe 2, and I'll have a couple other empty mugs, and then it'll say try on a cozy, and then these guys will be either hanging up next to it or they'll be on the table. I also figured out how much material cost is. So it's $1.65 because it was 19 grams and a whole skein is 170. So 11% of a skein is what I use. And then I did $15, which is what I'm saying I'm gonna get paid per hour, times 11% equals $1.65. And that is for the coaster and cozy. Cool. Okay, and I'm trying to figure out again for profit margin, and 30% does seem like a lot, but that's what I'm gonna go with, and it's gonna be fair because that's typical. And I also need to think about the fact that I don't want to burn myself out on these. Like, obviously I'm a little over cozies right now, but I want to feel that appreciation for the time and effort I put into it. And my time is valuable, your time is valuable, it is worth something. But I was also thinking about the time it takes to set up and tear down and to physically be at an event. It would be nice to consider I'm paying myself for that time also. So 30%, and I'm just kind of made a sheet here in Google Docs, so I can kind of like keep track of markups. So it takes essentially 60% of an hour. $1.65 is for the mug cozies. Can I just move that over or here? I'm going to insert a column. I'm just going to label it 30%. Sorry for getting moved around because I have to look at my keyboard. So that means this would equal 15 times 0.6 plus 1.65, and I think this should be in parentheses. And then we would times that by 1.3. That should give us a price. Okay, so great, now we know $13.84. And because I don't want to deal with like a lot of singles, I think I'd be very comfortable doing 15 then for these. So that means I'd be making a little bit over 30%, but it does say here your aim should be 50 to 70% profit eventually. Like these gargoyles and stuff, those I'm okay with that price, but I think I'll be sitting with these for a very long time. But again, like I said before, I want them to be appreciated. I don't want people to just be like, oh, it's cute. Yeah, I have that in expendable money. And then they just get like tossed, within a week. I want people to be like, oh, I appreciate the craftsmanship and the time and the energy that went into these. Sometimes I do think I might even put on like this is how long this took to make, so people could think about it and be like, okay, really, that's minimum wage is what she's making here, or just a little bit over. So hopefully this helps you. I've seen a lot of other crafters that do this. They have a nice template. They even have ones that you can specifically like purchase and download. I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go. So, but this is really nice to know because I was on the fence about 20. I was like, that seems just a little too high for me. So this is great that I'm making minimum wage. I'm getting the cost of my materials back, and I'm still doing a 30% markup, and I'm still only $13.84. It's great feedback. I have a correction to make. I was thinking about the price of yarn, and I'm like, that seems really high. And I feel like I used $15, and that skein did not cost $15. So we did use 11% of a skein of yarn for the coaster and the cozy, which meant, so they were $2.99 on sale, those skeins. So I times that by the tax. So that means not divided, 2.99 times 1.05. So that means each skein costs $3.15, and 11% of that is 35 cents. So that changed to $12, which I'm still okay with doing 15. That's just gonna make me closer to that eventual profit goal. And like I said, that'll help kind of buffer ones that I might just be charging pretty much cost for, like the gargoyle and such. Okay, some of these are really satisfying. Some of them are a little crazy. So this large dice bag here, I was thinking that would be about $40 when I was thinking about my time, and it turned out even with the 30% it was, so like, yes. And then 30 for the smaller ones, I was like, yep, I could see that. This gargoyle though, like, see what I mean? It's saying for my time, how much the yarn and skein and then the eyes and fill, that just seems way too high. Oh, and fill, that makes sense. Almost $100 for that little guy. So there's a couple things, and I have a little bit before this fair, and that's kind of a reason why I marked it down, is I'm probably a slower crocheter, so that's marking up my time. However, I'm also a minimum wage, so it makes sense that my skill set isn't that high, you know? So I've been making a couple more of the mythical creatures, and I've started timing them, and I will only time like a successful section. If I struggle, I stop, or if I have to frog, I'll go back to the point that I stopped, and then I'll start timing so that it's as clean of a crochet as I can do, so it's, you know, as fair of pricing that I can offer. So based on that, I'm going to probably be able to bring down my time a little bit. But the gargoyle did have like a lot of parts. He had, in addition to the head, body, 2 back legs, 2 front legs, he had teeth, 2 horns, 2 ears, 2 wings, and a tail. So all that stuff takes a little bit. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop this vlog here. I need to do some life stuff, and I'll pick up with you guys next time.